Okay, mic check. Welcome to Into the Night Bigfoot Paranormal Talk Radio. Thank you for listening. Um, okay, as I said in the last talk, I was going to get some more information on the Nommo, which are, if you didn't hear the last episode, the Nommo are an alien race from the Sirius star galaxy. So Sirius A and Sirius B. But I don't think they're any longer. They were supposed to be, I think, from Sirius B, but they're no longer there because I think Sirius B was a star planet that burned out. Um, anyway, here's some information I got. This is really interesting. Okay, the doggone, and I'll give some information in case you didn't hear part one, because this is actually part two. The doggone are a tribe living in Mali, West Africa. According to one of their legends, a race called the Nomos visited the Earth from the star Sirius thousands of years ago. The Nomos were amphibious beings, which has to do with fish or aquatic. The doggone learned from the Nomos that there was a companion star, Sirius B, orbiting the main star. This legend supposedly goes back hundreds of years. In the 70s, scientists discovered that there were indeed a Sirius B, though they had suspected its existence for over a century. This led KG Temple, I guess he was an author, to argue in his book, The Serious Mystery, that the legend must be true and the aliens visited the doggone. Um, Now, skeptics argue that the doggone incorporated this new information into older legends and that the Sirius system is a very unlikely place to support life. In Mali, West Africa, lives a tribe of people called the Dogon. The Dogon are believed to be of Egyptian descent, and their astronomical lore goes back thousands of years, 3200 BC. Wow. According to their traditions, the star Sirius has a companion star, which is invisible to the human eye. This companion star has 50-year elliptical orbit around the visible Sirius and is extremely heavy. It also rotates on its axis. Really cool. This legend might be of little interest to anybody, but the two French anthropologists, Marcel Grael and Germain de Terlin, who recorded it from four doggone priests in the 1930s, of little interest except that it is exactly true. How did the people who lacked any kind of astronomical device know so much about an invisible star? The star, which scientists call Sirius B, wasn't even photographed until it was done by a large telescope in 1970. Visitors from the stars. The doggone stories explain that also, according to their oral traditions, a race of people from Sirius system called the Nomos visited the Earth thousands of years ago. The Nomos were amphibious beings that resembled mermen and mermaids, which that's cool. They also appear in Babylonian, Akkadian, and Sumerian myths. The Egyptian goddess Isis, who is sometimes depicted as a mermaid, is also linked with the star Sirius. The Nomos, according to doggone legend, lived on a planet that orbits another star in the Sirius system. They landed on Earth in an ark. That's also cool. They made a spinning descent to the ground with great noise and wind. It was the Nomos that gave the doggone the knowledge about Sirius B. The legend goes, the legend goes on to say the Nomos also furnished the doggones with some interesting information about our solar system, that the planet Jupiter has four major moons, that Saturn has rings, and that the planets orbit the sun. These were all facts discovered by Westerners only after Galileo invented the telescope. That's a mystery. There's a guy, KG Temple. Here's a book. The story, I might get this book. Anyway, the story of the doggone and their legend was first brought to popular attention by Robert K.G. Temple in a book published in 1977 called The Serious Mystery. Science writer Ian Ridpath and astronomer Carl Sagan made a reply to Temple's book suggesting that this modern knowledge about Sirius must have come from Westerners who discussed astronomy with the doggone priest. The priest then included this new information into the older traditions. This in turn misled the anthropologists. This is a possibility considering Sirius B's existence was suspected as early as 1844 and was seen through a telescope in 1862. It doesn't seem to explain a 400-year doggone artifact that apparently depicts the Sirius configuration, nor the ceremonies held by the doggone since the 13th century to celebrate the cycle of Sirius A and B. It also doesn't explain how the doggones knew about the superdensity of Sirius B, a fact only discovered a few years before the anthropologists recorded the doggone stories. I know what you all thinking. Sounds like I'm saying doggone it, but it's not. It's actually doggone. Respect to the tribe, doggone. I'm sorry. It's also important to remember that although many parts of the doggone legend seem to ring true, other portions are clearly mistaken. One of Doggon's beliefs is that the Sirius B occupied the place where our sun is now. Physics clearly prohibits this. Also, if the Doggon believe that Sirius B orbits Sirius A every 50 years, why do they hold their celebration every 60 years? Well, that could be sometimes traditions stray away, after centuries. So that's why it's 60 years. Anyway, the Sirius system, Sirius A is the brightest star in our sky and can easily be seen in the winter months in the northern hemisphere. Look for the constellation Orion. Orion's belt are the three bright stars in a row. Follow an imaginary line through the three stars to Sirius, which is just above the horizon. It is bluish in color. Sirius is only 8.6 light years from Earth. Astronomer W. Bessel was the first to suspect that Sirius had an invisible companion when he observed that the path of the star wobbled. In the 1920s, we determined that Sirius B, the companion of Sirius, was a white dwarf star. The pull of its gravity caused Sirius's wavy movement. While dwarfs are small, dense stars that burn dimly, Sirius B is in fact smaller than the planet Earth. 1 teaspoon of Sirius B is so dense that it weighs 5 tons. So, did alien fish men pay a visit to ancient Earth and give the doggone their knowledge, or was it the doggone's culture contaminated by Western visitors? Or could the doggons have had ancient technical or non technical means to find this information out? Or was the whole thing just a matter of coincidence? Which I don't think so, because the information, as they said before, was given way before the telescope and everything. So I really do think the Nomos, the fish aliens, visited the doggone and gave them the information. Uh, the question may be settled as a larger, more powerful telescopes take a look at Sirius system. According to the legend, there's a third star, Sirius C, and it's around Sirius C that the home planet of the Nomos orbits. Most scientists do not consider any part of the Sirius system a prime candidate for life, though. Well, if it's advanced civilization, then maybe they're just hiding. Maybe they hide. And we just don't see them. Maybe they're up there, around on the planet. When Temple first issued his book in the 70s, there was no solid evidence of a Sirius C in 1995. However, two French researchers, Daniel Benest and J.L. Duvent, authored an article in the prestigious Journal of Astronomy and Astrophysics with the title of Sirius a triple star and suggested based on observations of motion in the Sirius system. There's a small third star there. They thought the star was probably of a known type known as a red dwarf and only about 0.05 the mass of Sirius B. So has the home star of the Nomos been discovered, or is this just another strange coincidence? Which I hope we can discover it and maybe see. That would be so cool. Amphibious alien. Let me think so Sirius, if you look it up, or if you're an astronomer junkie or whatever, you can look up Sirius Canis Major. Canis, that's a Charlie Alpha, Nancy Indigo, Sam Major, Michael Alpha, Jerome Oscar Romeo. So look for Sirius, Canis Major, and Orion. You can see a little map of it. Now I got some information, more information. That I'm gonna tell you. Okay, now this is the guy that wrote something. I think he actually went to visit the doggone tribe. Um, so what he says is that he starts off as I laid on my backs, hands cupping and heads counting meteors as they arched across the star-filled sky. In the stifling heat of the Malian summer, we had spread our mats on baked clay roof of Allie's home and spent the evening drinking sweet tea while he told me ancient stories. I guess Allie and the guy that wrote this are friends or something. Stories by the glow of an oil lamp. His skin was so dark that at night all I could see were his teeth and his eyes. But both always seemed to be smiling. Days earlier, I had found Ali by chance among the historical mob of taxi drivers that assailed travelers at Bamako's International Airport. Why did I choose Ali? Because he was the only one wearing the traditional three-cornered doggone hat. Nothing more. It was a traveler's roll of the dice, and it was a good choice. Ali was not only a different place, but of a different time, and I was desperately in need of time away from my own. I know how that is. He was a natural talker, but with a soothing voice, honed by his profession as a guide. One evening, when I was not yet ready for esoteric truth, he pointed skyward and said, "That is where I come from." I had gone to Mali to hear such words without ever really expecting to. Most tribal societies have a Taurus creation myth, if they are open to outsiders at all. I knew that the doggone claimed one of the oldest, richest, and most complex cosmologies that some believe involve space travel. Somehow, the doggone seemed to have possessed knowledge about our universe centuries before such information could be verified by modern telescopes, such as the story had to be followed. The Red Cliff, Mesa, and spiraling rock walls of southern Mali's Bandigara escarpment are an otherworldly moonscape, biblically old and primeval in appearance. It is a desert of undefined power and beauty, in a land of phenomenon so alien to outsiders that it's hard for Western minds to comprehend. To enter into one must surrender to both the wonders and terrors of the ancestral home of the doggone. BTDM 23, a scenic view of Bandigari Escarpment. The Bandigari Escarpment in Mali rises approximately 500 meters above the sand flats below and it stretches for 100 kilometers. It is home to the doggone people. So that is the home of the doggone people, which the Nommos had visited hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands, but I think hundreds. Um, Now, with Ali, the tour guide, I go where visitors have gone. We visit bloody stones where boys lose their foreskins on the path to manhood, and we silently enter secret caves forbidden to women, where warriors gather to eat meat at an ancient rock wall sheared centuries ago by lightning. We are overwhelmed by the brilliant ochre, black, and white primordial designs painted by hands that have left fingerprints behind. Later, from deep inside an impossible dark cave, Ali produces ceremonial instruments secreted in a wall crevices. But despite all those revealed secrets, there's nothing else I'm hoping to learn. Our journey began in one of Dogon's main commercial settlements of Nyangamo, a regular stop for the visitors who pay to see stage dances and imitation traditional headdresses. But as we ranged further, I failed the land and people turned feral and real. At two of the most remote sites, hidden voices challenged us, echoing throughout the valley, and our approach was met with a hail of hurled stones that caused me to shame and making a swift retreat. Um, let's end there. We're gonna do a part three. So I'm gonna lift you with a little small cliffhanger. The dude has rocks being thrown at him. So make sure you all join us for part three of the Nommo's doggone star system Sirius connection on Into the Night Bigfoot Paranormal Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Um, and I'll have three for you, part three done for you all this week. But you all have a good evening. Thank you for joining, and God bless.